Welcome.
Welcome back. It's a great day to communicate.
Yes, it is.
I'm Professor Atod.
And I'm Sarah.
And
let's get personal.
All right, we're excited. This is our third episode
Yes.
of Positive Identity.
Yes.
And different ways where we could move in a direction of positive identity. One thing I want to start by saying is that not every single one of these methods of improving positive identity will work for every single person. We're all different. We all need to kind of look at this and kind of view our situation and where we are in our lives and kind of our self-thought. One of the first things that we want to talk about today is seeking support.
Okay.
I am a big proponent of counseling.
Oh, yes.
I think counseling is a great thing. In fact, I personally believe that all humans need counseling at least once in their life. And frankly, I think half of us need counseling today.
Yeah.
I think at any given time, half of the population needs counseling. And even people that are solid and are stable and are happy in good relationships and everything, I think that's important to be able to do that. You're not crazy.
No.
There's nothing wrong with you. People
Nope.
who go to counseling are smart and responsible because they know that things aren't where they want to be. And this therapist is not your friend. I mean, he or she is kind of your friend, but they don't hang out with you. They're not going to tell anybody your dirt.
Right.
I have a friend in another state who is very successful, quite wealthy. I think they have 7 or 8 kids. Great marriage. I mean, kind of like the happy, joy family,
Right.
And he said that he goes to counseling once a year. All he needs to do
Just
once
to
a year,
kind of...
just to vent and say, this is what I'm thinking and feeling. And if he says, if I ever need to go more than that, I will, but he says, I just haven't had to. So even somebody in that situation, I can't really say his name or anything,
Right.
but even in somebody in that situation that's doing so well in their life and things are quite positive and everything, it's a good opportunity for them to vent and to kind of put that out there.
Well, I have a counselor who I see her once a month, and I just kind of go from, okay, so the last day I saw you was this day, so since then, this is what's happened. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll write what I want to say on the back of my hand, and this last time I had a lot to say, so I ended up writing it on an actual piece of paper. She was like, all right, what's going on? So I unfolded this, and she's like, okay, let me sit back, put my glasses on, and let's just have you talk. But it's great to have, the way I advise it is a non-biased third-party person.
Right.
And they will tell you on any given situation whether you were totally justified in your feelings, whether you approached the situation well, how you could have approached the situation better, and how you can improve in X dynamic.
Yeah.
It's been wonders for me. I've been in 3 years now.
I haven't been to counseling for a while. I went to counseling during my divorce about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And, well, to be frankly honest, I thought it would look good to the judge. And that's why I went. And after a while, my therapist says, I think you're good. And I think sometimes that happens. And I think, you're good. And I also life coach.
Yeah.
I life coach, and I kind of life coaching a particular niche. But I think sometimes that's a good opportunity just to talk to somebody that's kind of outside of your realm.
Mm-hmm.
And I try not to advise as much as a therapist might advise, and I'm not a therapist, and I tell them that.
Yes.
But I say I've encouraged some people to go to therapy, but I tend to ask the right questions and ask the questions that they need to answer themselves. And so sometimes they answer them to me, and sometimes they don't. But there's nothing wrong with seeking support. Whether it be a therapist, a life coach, someone from your religion, your church,
Absolutely.
friend, a parent, no person is an island, and I think that it's important to be able to.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because they say no man is an island, but that's only half the population. So
Right.
no person is an island. And
No them.
No them.
No them is
no
an
them
island.
is an island. And I think that it's important for us to realize that we need support.
Yeah.
Whether it be professional or social or other, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we're human. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. It's okay. All right. Next item. Develop honest, positive relationships. Okay?
Wow.
My best friend is a straight shooter. And if I mess up, he'll tell me about it. We talked on the phone probably at least once or twice a week, especially during the first year of my divorce.
Okay.
And he was, I tell him what happened, what I said, and what she said, and if I was out of line, he'd tell me. And it was good because I needed somebody to tell me. He's like, you do that, and here's a negative consequence that might happen to you, so you need to be careful with that.
Okay.
So I think honest, positive relationships where you can be upfront with people is good. And the constructive criticism, I think, is a healthy thing if it's from someone that excuse me, that you love and you trust, and you know that they have your best interest in their mind, and they love you and they care about you, and they're not really interested in tearing you down, but building you up and giving you tools and kind of giving you feedback and holding up a mirror, saying, here's what happens. So,
Huh. Interesting.
yeah, honest, positive relationships. Okay. All right. You have anything to say about that one?
No, that I'm gonna have to stew on that one.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Next, shed perfectionistic demands.
Ooh.
All right. Who are my perfectionists? I used to be. I'm not anymore. I'm married to one now, but
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. But shed perfectionistic demands. So much time, like we talked about earlier in another episode, we compare ourselves to other people, and it's unrealistic. You don't have to be perfect. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay. It's funny because teaching interpersonal communication, I get so many kudos, and you changed my life, and thank you. And I'm like, well, thank you. I'm really just the messenger. I'm giving you information. You changed your life. But it's funny how people there are several people who teach interpersonal communication. If you go on ratemyprofessor.com, the big critique that we always get is that he or she talks about themselves too much.
Oh.
Well, it's like, wait, I'm nice. How could they say something mean about me on ratemyprofessor.com? But we all get that, and there's really no other way to teach that class in a fun way without self-disclosing several things. But you're not going to be perfect. There's nobody that's perfect, and it's just kind of the way it is. It's just kind of the way it is. Did we talk about body? We talked about body image before.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that famous bodybuilder that used to be our governor in his video. Talk about that?
No.
Let's talk about that. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name, so I'm not going to. But he used to be the governor of California, and he's been in movies, and he's quite famous and everything.
And he has a very distinctive accent.
Yes, he was Mr. Universe, I think, 5 times. I think, but they did a documentary. Can you list the documentary? Can you see the documentary? Okay. There was a documentary that this person, after that, they had won Mr. Universe the 3rd time, and one of the things that stood out to me was that they were looking at. He was showing the reporter, the journalist, pictures of his first 3 wins, because at that point he'd only won 3 times.
Right.
And he said, and the journalist said, people who are into bodybuilding say that you are the most perfect male body that's ever existed on the planet. And he kind of said, well, thank you, that's nice to hear, but, and then he started looking at his picture, this big life-size picture of his body that, on the day that he won. He starts pointing out flaws.
Yeah.
He starts pointing out flaws. He's like, well, you can see this is a problem here, and I need to fix this and everything. And then he compared it to the second year. He's like, see how I fixed that? And that's better than that over there. He said, but then in the second year, then these are some flaws here. So he went through all 3 of them and picked out flaws. And I thought, if this person that's supposed to have the best body in the entire world in all of history is picking out flaws of his own body, what does that tell us?
Right.
So, give yourself a break, and you're not going to be perfect. And but whether it be body image or level of education or so many different things where we feel like we fall short, and I just think life is too short, again, to wallow around in the misery and to feel inferior.
Well,
life is too short for that.
There's also the famous quote, to err is human.
Right. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. I think that's important. Okay? All right. Anything else on that?
No.
Become more synergistic. And I say synergistic, and people are like, I've heard that word. I'm not really sure what that means. Synergy, the way I describe it to my students and to myself, is that synergy is the difference between 5 plus 5 and 5 times 5. Okay? When people work together, they can accomplish a lot more than if they were to have worked separately. Okay? So when people work together in teams and groups, their outcome is usually much greater. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's why diversity is such a good idea, because you get people into teams and committees and problem-solving groups. And if people come from different perspectives and different cultures and genders and ages and everything, they're going to be able to see a problem or a situation or something's going to work or not going to work from different perspectives. And I think that's much better. In this situation, improving positive identity, we as humans like to interact with other people. And too many people are doing this all the time, and they live their lives on their phones, which we all do. I saw that. We all do that, of course. But some people, their social lives are 50 and 60 and 70% online. In my opinion, I don't think that's healthy. We need to work. We need to talk to people. And when we go to work and we get a job, we talk to people and we work with them face to face and we interact with people. And to have those people skills really is better. And I read recently that people who have good communication skills make $40,000 to $70,000 on average more than those who don't. So it's important to be able to develop those. And what that means is to develop those skills by interacting with other people. We like to cooperate with people. We like to work together with people. We like teams and groups and committees. And as a group, we're going to solve this problem. We're going to create this product, or we're going to accomplish this task. And as groups, we feel as human beings, we like that. We like to cooperate with each other. Make sense?
So you're saying to reach out and look for teams and diversity, and
I just think, yes, that's part of it. That's a big part of it. But I think human interaction is so important. We have a rule in our family that when we go to 2 or 3 different stores, grocery store, etc., we have to have a conversation. That's a rule I have for myself. So I went to the grocery store. This is my example that I always use. I held up this squash to this lady and I said, "How do you cook this?" And she talked to me for 5 minutes about it, about how the different ways to cook the squash and how you can put salt, pepper, and butter on it, or you can boil it or whatever, everything. I don't really like squash. I make myself eat it because I know it's healthy. But it was just a conversation to have with somebody, to be nice and to be friendly.
Right.
That's an example of being synergistic. It's an example of interacting with another person and being with them and just kind of having interaction. So talk to people. Always challenging people to have conversations with people that they don't know. You don't have to be their new best friend. You don't have to tell them your name. You don't have to be in touch. You don't have to give their text message out or anything. You don't have to do that. Sometimes, though, it can work out where you become friends. I tell my Christmas friend story. I do tell that story. Okay.
Christmas keepers.
But I tell my friend that I met at that.
Yes.
Of course. Okay. Yeah. She remembers what we talked about, and if you're my students, you know how that goes. All right. So anyway, but become more synergistic. People benefit from getting to know each other and from having conversations and interacting with other people. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Where are we?
Let's see if we can. Do you think we could wrap it up in that?
Yeah.
Actually, we could go a little over.
Okay. The next one. Don't work too much. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, to be fair and to be transparent, I'm a college professor. Officially, I work 30 weeks a year, and I usually work another 4 in the summer. So out of 52 weeks a year, I work 34 weeks. Now I'm writing and working and doing other things in the off season and off time, summer and Christmas time. But so a little, transparency here. But in our culture, we work too much. And it's crazy to me that people get a job and they have 2 weeks of vacation a year, and they're with that company for 20 and 30 years, and even after 20 or 30 years, they still only have 2 weeks of vacation a year. That's criminal, in my opinion. It's awful. If you go to Europe, specifically France, Germany, Spain, most of the time you start a job with 4 weeks vacation, and you work your way up over the next 10 to 15 years up to about 3 months of vacation. Some companies give you 12 weeks of vacation a year.
Wow.
Now, I'm not suggesting that.
Right.
But I mean, there's something to be said about, taking the time off and enjoying life and everything. I think
that definitely is something, because the thing is what's the use in working so hard and putting your nose to the grindstone when you don't take time to enjoy it, to enjoy your home and enjoy your car and enjoy your family and things like that.
Absolutely.
So we're not saying that you have to quit your job and go, just enjoy life.
Don't be irresponsible, right?
But you can definitely be like, you know what? No, I'm stressed. I'm overworked. I need to just take a weekend. Take a Friday and just go and enjoy, have a staycation. So
Right,
you stay in
absolutely.
your hometown and you enjoy what you're close by. And
Absolutely.
you might end up finding something that you never knew before and that you
Right.
really like and that your family likes.
I think that it takes effort to enjoy life. You
Yes.
can't just, listen, there's so many people that go to work and they get home between 5 and 6 and they have dinner. By 7 o'clock they're in front of the TV and they watch TV till 10 and they go to bed and they do the same thing the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do the same thing all weekend. Don't do that. Life should have variety and you should seek out to enjoy your life. Have dinner parties, have people over, go to movies, travel, go somewhere for the weekend. Do something that is not, work is great and I love my job and I'm super blessed to have the job that I have, but it is not my entire life.
Right.
There's much more to life than working.
Right.
So don't work too much. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Well, I think that is going to be a good place to stop it there. I think we've got one more in us. So keep an eye out for the next episode. And we will see you then.
We'll see you in a bit.
Bye.